If you're not an enthusiastic gamer, just want to have guaranteed fun, I specifically emphasize guaranteed fun, and you are searching for one console for your whole family, I would say in 80% of the time, you need Nintendo Switch 2. Or just Nintendo Switch. But we are going to be talking about Nintendo Switch 2, so deal with that. So, it's a portable, one-of-a-kind gaming console. There is no such thing like Nintendo Switch 2 on the market. We'll go in depth about that, but just putting it out there. There is nothing else like it right now on the market, and there probably won't be because Nintendo patent every bit of it, most likely. So you can play games on the go, you can travel, you can play in a park, you can do essentially anything you want with it. You can take it anywhere you want, you can play as long as it's charged. So yeah, you can play on a phone. Why do you need Nintendo? Yeah, you can play on a phone, but it's not going to be the same as playing Nintendo. Games are not the same, interface is not the same, grip, feel, experience is not the same, the screen size, performance is not the same. Playing on a phone can be fun for some games, for short sessions, for some games which are not really demanding. I wouldn't be playing, like, let's say Resident Evil whatever game on iPhone, what they released recently, like a couple of years ago, maybe like last year. Like, why would I do that? Also, it's not really comfortable, it's not really immersive, so what's the point? Yeah, of course, you can buy accessories, you can buy a controller, you can buy a heatsink, you can buy this, and that, but it's not going to be as good as any other handheld. I'm not talking about Nintendo Switch right now, I'm talking about any other handheld on the market. Yeah, sometimes there is nothing else you can do about it and you play on a phone. Sure, but overall, if you value good gaming experience, the phone is not gonna cut it for you. There is a limit to it. You cannot overcome that, in my opinion. So we come to handheld devices. Overall, they are more or less the same. I know it's a whole variety of them on the market, but more or less they are the same. Some of them run on Linux, some of them run on even SteamOS somehow, but most of them run on Windows. It's not really good. It's not a good idea, but most of them do. I'm talking about like Asus, MSI, Lenovo, like pretty much any Chinese manufacturer of those handheld devices. They do perform better than Steam Deck. That's what they thrive on. They're like, hey, we're going to make it basically as good as a laptop. So it's like a gaming laptop in a handheld form factor. Cool, but it becomes heavier, hotter. The battery doesn't run as long because it is powerful and it's hotter, so the battery drains quite a bit. So it's not a handheld device by any margin at that point. So those go away. Yeah, you can go for PlayStation, like PlayStation Portal. It's not a standalone device though. You have to have a PlayStation first. And second, your PlayStation has to be on at all times if you want to play PlayStation Portal, because it's streaming games. It's not like you have the games on your handheld, which again doesn't really cut it for me. Well, first, I'm not a Sony boy, I don't have a PlayStation. But even if you are a Sony boy, I don't really see much of a reason why you need to choose PlayStation Portal over, let's say, Steam Deck. Xbox, whatever, Asus, ROG, Ally, whatever they released recently, is not a competitor to Steam Deck or PlayStation Portal or Nintendo Switch. If you want to buy that Xbox, Asus, ROG, Ally handheld, the only reason you do that because you have Xbox Game Pass. But again, it comes down to subscription, which you are going to be paying more or less 200 plus bucks a year. You can get them, go to Steam on Christmas sale, any other sale, dump them all in and get a whole bunch of games, and they're going to be yours in your library forever. Okay? Xbox, Microsoft, they don't develop their own exclusive games anymore. I don't know who has Xbox now and why do you need one. So yeah, Xbox is just a pass for me. So it brings us to Steam Deck. Overall, it's perfect. Like seriously, it is perfect. If you want a handheld device which can deliver good adequate performance, good grip, great touch screen, those touchpads for playing strategy games or any other games if you like to use touchpad. That's a pretty unique thing, actually. I've never seen that. Good battery life. That's very important. So Steam Deck is not as powerful as any other competitor, but because it's not as powerful, it can deliver you pretty long, extensive battery life. That is the most important key factor for a handheld. If it's constantly on a charging cable, it's not a handheld anymore. You might as well just play on a laptop. And of course, SteamOS, its Steam, its discounts, its regional prices, its sales, its recommendations, reviews, ratings, community, everything is awesome overall. So why are we talking about Nintendo Switch? Why did I mention it in the first place? Just get a Steam Deck and be happy, right? Well, yes. But Nintendo Switch has its trade-offs, yet it can give you something what Steam Deck cannot. Overpriced exclusives. Let's talk about that later. Nintendo Switch is thinner and lighter, slightly bigger screen, higher resolution. On the other hand, Steam Deck has a better processor, as far as I know, more RAM, and the battery life outperforms Nintendo Switch 2 by quite a bit. Also, Nintendo Switch 2 is a gaming console, while Steam Deck is kind of basically a PC, just handheld laptop, handheld PC. If you really want, you can run Windows on it, you can run different shops on it, you can run Proton, you can run emulators on it. But remember, never ever emulate Nintendo Switch games or Nintendo games in general. It's very much illegal and a very, very, very bad thing to do. Okay, don't do that. Okay, kids? No, don't do that. The approaches of both companies are just different. Valve comes from PC gaming as a game developer, creating an online store before most people got stable internet even. We're fighting piracy not by lawsuits or regulations, like Nintendo does, but by providing convenience and service on a level that pirating becomes much less attractive. How I see it, their main goal has always been providing you with freedom, freedom of choice. Nintendo, on the other hand, is a much older company, which comes from toy industry. A very competitive and a vicious industry, by the way. They even had a lawsuit against Lego back in the days. I'm gonna add it to the video that you're bored. I will. She's bored. I'm already adding it into the video. They developed their own building blocks. The classic Lego block is patented, so Lego sued them for stealing their idea. Irony, huh? Lego lost the case, by the way, because Nintendo's blocks were different enough to qualify for their own design. So, in a nutshell, Nintendo is not a video game company. Nintendo is a toy company. They sell toys. Keep that in mind when talking about Nintendo. Their main market is kids and family. Always have been, always will be. If they cannot sell it to kids, they won't be selling it. It's built for instant fun. So there are essentially four main reasons why somebody would buy a Nintendo Switch. Well, first and foremost, Nintendo exclusive games, obviously. Those are console drivers. You cannot buy them anywhere else. Emulators are bad and illegal. Okay? Switch is not really a financially friendly platform. Not a very wise financial decision either. If you do not need Nintendo exclusives, I would go Steam Deck. Otherwise, get ready to pay premiums for those exclusives. That's just reality. So 2, plug and play co-op gameplay, like in good old times in 90s, 2000s, 80s. Those are the good old times, right? We all agree. Co-op gameplay built in, at home, on a go, especially on a go. And that is a huge point in Nintendo's favor. There is no other solution on the market which allows you to play together with your family and friends, foes and enemies, right away, anywhere you want. Xbox, buy a second controller, no gaming in the park. forget about it. PlayStation, same here. PC, same here, unless you have a laptop and at least one, better two controllers. Still is not as convenient as Switch. Steam Deck, you gotta buy a dock station, cables, two controllers, blah, 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 and you still won't be able to play on the go with that setup. Steam Deck is fun for one person. Nintendo Switch is a whole package and more. The dock station, cables, everything is included from the get-go. Want to play outside from your bedroom or living room? The screen has a kickstand. You just kick the stand, that's the screen. You have two Joy-Cons. Both Joy-Cons turn into individual controllers. Do you want to play in 4 or 8 people at once? Just get more controllers. And they go in packs of 2. And that is it. You don't need any additional cables, just get controllers, that's it, no hassle about it. You can share games with other Nintendo users. If you're having a party, just boot up one of those dozen party games and you'll be guaranteed to get as much fun as you want. Overall, Switch is by far the easiest co-op solution for at least 2 people, which works anywhere as long as you are charged. 3. If you have kids or just want a family-friendly console, that is it. Again, easy to operate, easy to set up, share games with others, co-op for friends and family, play anywhere on the go. All Nintendo exclusives, as far as I know, are kids-friendly. If there are some not kid-friendly Nintendo games, please let me know. A lot of party games. Again, the console itself is very engaging. It's just fun to go through menus. You just go through menus, they are so smooth and soothing, and all those sounds and animations, everything is just, it feels like a toy. It just, you have it in your hands and it just screams at you like, play me, like, let's play. 4. If you like physical media. Yes, I know internet is cool, everybody uses it. It is very convenient to have all of your libraries online in one place and so on, but here comes the but. Unlike other platforms where having a card reader, a disk slot is optional, Nintendo Switch card slot is built in on every Nintendo Switch, regardless if it's the bigger version or the light version, which allows you to buy used cartridges. Yes, I know there had been some problems recently with Nintendo Switch 2 when people bought used cartridges and they got their Nintendo Switch bricked. However, I heard that this issue becomes less frequent and you can always just call customer support and prove them that you have bought this cartridge and they're going to re-brick your console, just boot it up again, just unban it. Yeah, so used market, you can save some of those precious dollars and you can collect it. And it's just cool. You have the box, you can look at it, you can read it, you can smell it, you can lick it if you want. Like, do whatever you want. You have it on your shelf and it makes you feel good. Yes, I know just another person on the internet talks about this physical media renaissance or whatnot, like VHS tapes, vinyl, oh, it's so cool, blah, blah, blah. It's not, it's lame. Internet is so much better, so much convenient. Yes, but what if there is no internet? Like tomorrow, there is no internet. Or you lose electricity for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And also, yet again, in the end of the day, you cannot guarantee that you own the product unless you have its physical copy. When you have it physically in front of you, that's the moment you own it. Even with Steam, I don't want to say it, but we don't know what Steam is going to look like in 5 to 10 years. We don't know. Hopefully it's going to be the same and better, but things change. So the only way to secure your favorite games and movies legally in your possession is owning a physical disc.
This is the worst.
One more less obvious reason to get Nintendo Switch, it's kind of controversial, but it's limitations, specifically in game choices. If we draw an analogy between phones and consoles, then Nintendo would be similar to Apple, and Steam Deck is going to be similar to Android, where Steam Deck provides you with freedom of choice. You can basically do whatever you want with this console. Nintendo gives you a limited number of exclusive games within the same franchises for 30 plus years. Yes, you'll be paying pretty hefty price for that, but you can be rest assured that they are kids friendly, can lighten up any party, with co-op capabilities, polished, with sprinkles on the top. No more scrolling through endless libraries, endless galleries, searching for those gems on Steam. Just get it once and play forever. You cannot be wrong with Nintendo Switch games or any Nintendo games. You just pick one, you pay for it, 80 to 90 to $100, but you know it's good. You might say, well, yes, with that logic, you can buy any AAA title and be happy too, and pay those premiums as well. Yes and no, because how many AAA titles from big studios, what you played recently, met your expectations? There are a lot of games. More and more indie games become unbreakable hits, start new genres, but it's one thing to buy a known hit than gambling whether this indie game is fun or not. Nintendo is always fun, seriously, because they don't appeal to you from today. They play with your kid within yourself. Poetry. As a closure, let's cover the question whether you should upgrade to a Nintendo Switch 2 from the first, or get the first one now instead of the second. If you do not have the first, I would have bought the second. The first Switch is almost 10 years old. The second is more future-proof, hardware and software-wise. On the other hand, currently there are only a couple of titles exclusive on Nintendo Switch 2, which is a bummer. Well, that kind of extends the lifespan of your Nintendo Switch 1 for a little bit, so that's good. If you already have the first and don't want to jump right away, you can just stick to it. However, with RAM crisis, chipset crisis, and whatever either what comes next crisis, the prices are gonna rise in 2026 for sure. If you can buy it now, the best time was yesterday, but if you can buy it now, it's still okay. Still okay today. Just go get it. Unless you don't care about higher specs, new features, and upcoming games. In that case, Nintendo Switch first is still a great option for a family with kids, a party, traveling, or just snogging in a sofa with a cup of hot cocoa. That works. And as I said before, if you don't care for Nintendo exclusive games, don't care for physical media, you don't need a co-op on one screen on the go, and you don't mind purchasing accessories, then go Steam Deck. It's still the best value till this day, and when Steam Machine finally comes out, perhaps that would be it. To summarize, if you're full-time employed, don't have time or energy to figure out things, you're a casual gamer who just want to have fun, or you're on a hunt for one console to fit all your family needs, get Nintendo Switch 2 and be happy. If you have Nintendo Switch 1 and it covers all your party, family, travel needs, get Steam Deck for sales and more diverse gaming palette. If you want to future-proof your Nintendo journey, get Nintendo Switch 2 before the prices have gone up. If you play alone, you like Steam sales, you are more enthusiastic about gaming and want a handheld console, get Steam Deck. If you have a PlayStation and want a handheld, get a Steam Deck. Unless you really cannot live without your PS exclusives, in that case, well, Portal is your only choice. Otherwise, go Steam Deck. If you have Xbox, why? Sell it, get a Steam Deck if you're alone, Nintendo Switch 2 if you have a dual income household. So, on that note, if you're still here, please subscribe to this channel, ring the bell. Your support is very important right now. If you like it, please give this video a like. I would really appreciate any help with growing this channel. You can check other videos of mine somewhere here or here or here or here or here. Come over to my streams on Twitch and YouTube. Say hi. The links are going to be in the description. For timely news and thoughts, you can follow my Telegram channel, Happywoolcorner. And if you would like to support me financially, please follow the links to my Patreon. Thank you so much. The final question to you is, what gaming setup do you have? And what would you like to buy? Did I change your mind or give you something to think about? Please let me know. You have been watching Happywoolcorner. Have a great day. And as always, stay warm and cozy. Bye. Hi. If you've been having some struggles with choosing, just deliberately making decisions, that's one of the areas what I've been struggled with a lot for the past several continuous years, I would say. And my New Year's resolution as trying to overcome this issue, trying to overcome this challenge for myself, and I hope I can help some of you with that. So, over the past several years, I've been struggling, especially with content what I consume. Choosing tech or any other product is much easier. There are numbers, there are measurable things. You can measure it, you can see the numbers, you can compare things A to B, and you can come to a logical conclusion. Of course, there is a lot of rationality behind our decisions. In the end of the day, marketing is that's what marketing is for. They grind all their salaries from our desires and our emotions. However, the numbers are still there, they still exist, and you can come to logical decision. But content though, how do you choose content based on numbers? I'm not sure it's possible. Let's say a movie. You can look at the cast, you can look at the director, you can look at a very memorable, astonishing scene in a trailer. It's still not numbers. You cannot know exactly how this content is going to make you feel in the end of the day unless you buy it and you watch it, or if it's a video game, you play through and you don't know how it's going to make you feel. People are not numbers. You can look at directors, cast, etc., and you can be like, oh yes, that's my guy. I want to watch this movie. But the same crew, the same amount of people, the same company which produces the game can deliver absolutely different results, and they can resonate with you in a different way. Sometimes companies like, let's say Ubisoft, they go full on making more or less the same games again and again, and it just becomes boring at some point. Some companies, they change their directions now and then, and somebody likes it, somebody don't, but in the end of the day, it's not met expectations of people, and it just adds up a lot of stress to consumers, and especially when you try to choose something, right? So that's what I'm trying to overcome. I'm trying to overcome unnecessary stress in choosing things, because when you're stuck with enormous amount of choices, let's say on Steam, you just get stuck in this analysis paralysis loop. You can choose a thing for much longer period of time than you'll actually experience it. And of course, if you watch movies or TV shows on streaming services like everybody does nowadays, not only it's very hard to choose things, but in the end of the day, you don't own things. You don't own that movie, you don't own that TV show. Streaming services can take the show away anytime they want. You might lose internet. And if, let's say, you are only watching 1 or 2 long TV shows, you might as well just buy that. But it's a whole another story. Let's not talk about that. So when it comes to games, how about you just buy Xbox Game Pass? Well, I did have Xbox Game Pass. I have had it for quite a few years, but I canceled it already because, well, for the past 5 months, they increased the price twice, and it doesn't make sense anymore to me because, well, on average, people play 3 to 5 games a year, and considering the price change, it just there is no point. Like, you can keep all those money what you would have spent on Xbox Game Pass for a year, and then come to Steam for a Christmas sale and just dump it all in there, and you'll have a whole bunch of games to forget about life for the whole year, maybe even longer than that. And it's not only like little, very old franchises or like indie games or whatever. I mean, you can get pretty decent games like which released in this year. So Xbox just doesn't cut it anymore. Yeah, they do have first day releases as well, etc., etc. But again, you don't own those games. Just go to Steam, buy them. Console war is over, if you didn't know. Steam won. God bless Gabe Newell. So yeah, I mean, nothing beats Steam by any margin. Xbox doesn't, PlayStation doesn't. If we consider pure store experience, you have all the reviews, you have ratings, you have community, you have comments. Nothing beats Steam. The only problem what I have with Steam, you have enormous amount of games on Steam, and it's improbable to choose something unless you go for those AA titles. Yes, but you, again, yet don't know how you will resonate with those games. So I have had an experiment a while ago. I opened game releases year by year, and I've been just going through all those pages and I've been adding anything I found interesting. In my idea, that should have helped me to overcome this analysis paralysis syndrome, so to speak. In my theory, the more you practice choosing, it's like a muscle, the better you become at it. I would say it kind of helped, considering that I only ended up having 1.5k games on my wish list outside of more or less 10,000 games on Metacritic overall. The problem is that since then, the list hasn't moved down much. I would say it upped quite a bit, but never moved down. The problem is that all of that comes down to lack of time. If you're not a student, you work full time, you have a side hustle, have business, family, and kids. Your me time, so to speak, is very limited. So is your energy, by the way. And energy is very important in this equation. Watching movies is a passive entertainment for the most part. The only thing you need to do, you need to choose it. If it sucks, well, you can turn it off or you just watch it. It's only like 2 hours long. So even if you wasted 2 hours, well, it's only 2 hours. If it's about a game, games are engaging entertainment. They require your energy, your time, your focus. You are pressing buttons, you're making decisions. If you have a game which goes, let's say, 10 to 20 hours, you want to know what's the end of the game. When you buy a game, they have very engaging first 2 hours, normally, because if you go past those 2 hours, you cannot refund that game. What they do, what the developers do, they put every dollar you buy for the game, they put into those first 2 hours, and then just deal with that. Just go through those 2 hours. You cannot refund the game. Our job is done here. Okay, so if you want to know the end of the game and the game just purely sucks, well, that's not cool, right? And whether it's gonna suck or it's not gonna suck, you cannot predict it. Even if you watched reviews, you read about it online, you booted it up, you played the demo, whatever, they are not going to reveal all the downsides of the game. And if you have similar problems to what I'm experiencing, you cannot choose much. Well, you're not alone. There is a reason why people kept buying Call of Duty again and again, year after year. It's basically the same game, but people go and buy the same thing. Pokemon with Nintendo, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, all of those games are more or less the same, but people went and bought them again and again, as long as it didn't turn into, well, the last Call of Duty, what we saw this year. There is a reason why people play the same game, what they like, or develop this some sort of Stockholm syndrome towards it. I bet the whole nostalgia for content specifically lies not only in the fact that you liked it back in the day, but also in reduced stress level over it, because you know exactly what you are gonna get. You find that movie, what made you feel good 20 years ago, you know that it's gonna make you feel good again. Zero stress. So if you're still here, I'm very impressed and proud of you. I sort of kind of found the solution to this problem, specifically when talking about games. A solution which is quite a bit controversial in modern day market. It certainly can save you some time, definitely not money, but time, and nerve cells from stress. So let's talk about Nintendo Switch 2 and why it is the console, what you must get if you value your time and your peace of mind. But not the money though. Financially, it sucks. Like $80 a game, 80 to $100 per game. It's insane. It's insane. But it is the console you must get. Like, seriously. This is going to be a very comprehensive guide, so strap up. What is Nintendo Switch 2? And why do you need one?